Hello, my loves. I wanted to come to you this evening to do a reading for this full moon in Pisces. It is currently September 2nd, 2020, but whenever you catch this video, if you feel like you need it, like, you can vibe with some full moon in Pisces energy. So just the disclaimer is this is not to anybody specifically. This is just a very generalized reading. The spread I'm actually using is from a good friend named Ethony. A lot of people I think already know her if you're in this world, but I'll leave a link to the spread specifically and to her website, just to give credit where credit is due. Love her. Love you, babe, if you're just happen to be watching this. But it's just a really good spread, and she has tons and tons of really good spreads that she comes out for free on her social media all the time. So definitely check those out. But I'll just do a little quick one here today for you. So the spread positions that we're looking at. So the first is a 5-card spread. The first is, what message does my intuition want to deliver? How can I connect more with my intuitive side is the second. 3, what emotions need healing? 4, how can I let go? And then 5, what self-care do I need to focus on? So taking a minute, doing whatever you need to do to come into a sacred kind of space, ready to receive whatever messages that may come. And if anything just doesn't resonate, you just shake that right off, baby cakes. I'm like, no worries, no worries. I got my trusty rain stick here with me. And I'd like to chant a little bit. It gets me in the vibe. If you don't like that, you can just skip forward. No problem. I'll get right to the reading. But there's a good old chant that I love by Selena Fox, calling out to Great Spirit. Earth, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Love it. Oh, great spirit, earth and sky and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, great spirit, earth and sky and sea, you are inside and all around me. Blessed be. All right. So digging into the full moon in Pisces, for those of us that may not know, just a brief reminder on what the full moon can typically mean. Whatever you feel it means is absolutely what it means, but some common things, consensus consciousness, whatever that word is, on what the full moon is a time of things coming to fruition and then coming into the energy of things to let go. So both honoring what we've built up to this point and then allowing ourselves to let go of things that are no longer serving us into this next cycle. So we're at the peak of something, and then we've waxed up to this point, and then we'll wane back down. And then Pisces, being a very watery nature, is a water sign. And it's Ethony's spread here talks about the intuition and about emotions, and so those both tie in with Pisces and the moon, Pisces being ruled by the moon as well. So there's a lot of that coming into play. Maybe this is a time that feels very emotional, feels very much so a time to tap into self-expression, taps into the intuition. It's a very powerful time to do divination and other things, even if you're catching this a few days late, or even if you just need to tap into that energy. I think that there's something to be said about summoning that energy for yourself. You know what I mean? So to getting into the spread, the first card we have, and I'll be using the Tarot of the Vampires for anybody who cares, by Ian Daniels. Love it. Amazing. It's my fall deck. It's September. We're doing it. What message does my intuition want to deliver? So the general message that I have here is the 4 of Skulls, which in traditional tarot is the 4 of Pentacles or coins, discs of earth, that kind of thing. The intuition, I think, here is not to have too tight of a control on what our lives are supposed to look like right now. Especially with a lot of things going on and a lot of things being uprooted, I feel especially. This is not necessarily a time to cling. This is a time to have an open hand, an open spirit, an open heart onto what life might look like on a very practical level. You know, maybe there is a career change that's happening. Maybe there is a living situation that's changing. There's a lot of, I think, changing energy, and I think Pisces brings with it that, and certainly the full moon can bring that as well. And there's can be a tendency to stay stagnant because we feel like it's safe, and we feel like we must cling on to what we know, and that is safe. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's more dangerous to do that. It's more dangerous to stay stuck while, you know, kind of the debris keeps, I envision like for some reason being in a river and like things just keep coming and hitting you in the face as you're clinging onto a branch or something. That's the, I don't know, the image that comes to mind for me right now. And, you know, maybe you should just float down the river instead. I know it's interesting to think about this water analogy with an earth card, but that's what I'm getting, babes. That's what I'm getting. Then how can I connect more with my intuitive side? That's the second card position here. And don't be scared, it's the Tower. But we love the Tower, okay? And I know that's a controversial thing, but for me, especially when thinking about this idea of clinging on so tightly to something that's maybe not serving us anymore, at least in this way, at least when it looks like this, there can be something terrifying, I'll admit it, but there could be something so freeing and so relieving about being able to say, I can let this go and I should let this go. And we'll get into letting things go. But connecting more with the intuitive side, I think when we keep this idea of I guess, well, this ideation of what this life should look like, what things should look like right now, and then we build up this wall, we're limiting ourselves. We limit what it is that we can take in. You know, you say, my life has to look like this, and then it's going to look like this, and then, well, I'm going to do it like this. This is the way, this is how it's going to happen. And you limit yourself from the blessing. You limit yourself for life to actually come in and happen. You have making all of these plans, and then you're kind of shutting life out in its own kind of way. You're shutting out that creative muse. You're shutting out that intuition that can come in and say, like, ride the wave a little bit. Maybe you should just ride the wave. I guess that's that Pisces water and full moon energy coming in. Ooh. Just my desk there. So yeah, how can you connect more with your intuitive side? Let those things that you've built go away. Let this idea that you've had about your life up to this point. Take some time. If there's a grief process that needs to happen, let that happen. You know, if there are tears that need to be shed, it's gonna be a pretty emotional time in general anyway. So, you know, you're not alone in this, and I think that's important too. Whatever you're going through in this, whatever this looks like for you, you're not alone. There are people there to help you along the way. Even an online community, if that's what you need. So what emotions need healing is our third card position, and that's the 8 of Knives. It's this feeling like maybe you feel like you're stuck in whatever situation that you're in, and that there's not really a way out. And so it should be, well, I don't want to say should, but it can be pretty relieving to know that you have the power. It's absolutely within you to walk away from whatever that is, whatever that situation looks like, whatever that, maybe that person is, whatever that circumstance is. You know, you have the power to simply step out of it. And I say simply, but sometimes it's not so simple. But it is with you. It is with you. And maybe that's actually what it is. It's maybe not easy, but it can be simple. I don't know. It depends on how you're vibing with it, babe. But definitely the emotions that need healing is this feeling of being trapped. You know, some softness around that feeling, that you're not this person that maybe you once were. You know, maybe you're not the little girl, the little boy, the little child that you once were experiencing something. You're not, you know, that person that was in this toxic situation, in this toxic relationship, or in this toxic work environment, or whatever. You're not in that position anymore. You know, you're in a different position now, and you have the power to react differently now. You don't have to be stuck in it. So how can we let go? And so, interesting card to get here is the Hanged Man, is that sometimes I think you just have to sit with it. Sit with whatever it is that you're holding so tightly on. And I think it's almost like having this moment of this ritual, this funeral for it. Whatever it is that you feel like you're clinging so tightly onto. The Hanged Man, I think, says you need to sit with it and understand why you need to let it go. You know, I think that maybe whatever the circumstance is for you, you've been passing it by every day, and maybe even casually thinking to yourself, oh, I need to take care of that, like passing the dishes by. But then when you take that second and you actually look at how dirty the dishes really are, and you think about how long they've really been sitting there, that drives the sense of urgency. So, I mean, obviously it's a metaphor, whatever that situation actually is for you, baby. You know, that's how you can let it go, by actually looking at it for what it is, kind of taking the curtain down, kind of opening up the blinds, letting the sunlight shine in on this, or the full moonlight in this case, whatever it is. Then you'll know. Once you look at it for what it truly is, you'll be able to understand why. I hope. That's my hope for you. So what self-care do I need to focus on? We have the Nine of Scepters here. And there is, I think, a form of defensiveness that is unhealthy. So let me be clear with that. Sometimes the word defensive can be used in a very negative light, but I think there is something about being defensive on standing your ground on what it is that you need. And self-care in this way can be focusing on your boundaries and establishing those boundaries. I know that's something that we talk about a lot, but it's a lot of easy things to say and quite difficult things to do sometimes, because a great amount of the time it's with people that you respect, or people you have to respect, people that you love dearly, but they have to have that line drawn. There are people that may be taking advantage of you, taking advantage of your time, your resources, your emotions, your energy, your creativity, that don't understand what it takes or don't care. And the self-care that you need to focus on perhaps now is what lines can be drawn in a clear and healthy way. This is not necessarily a time to be overactive and over-defensive. And when I think about like things like that, I think of the Amanda show, and she had that, you know, kind of Dawson's Creek parody or whatever it was. That was like, there was the character that was like, well, what's that supposed to mean? Like, they would say, how are you today? What's that supposed to mean? You know, like there are times which we can feel that way, and we can feel kind of sensitive, and we need to sit with ourselves for a bit and be like, okay, maybe I need to develop a skin here. But at the same time, we're no doormat, you and I. We're not, that's not who we are. We ain't playing that game. That's not who he is. You know, we are, you know, the glorious beings that we are. We are these spiritual beings having human experiences on this planet. And under this full moon in Pisces, the line will be drawn in the sand, darling. We will not be playing this game anymore. So, you know, for me, sometimes I like to think about, on a continual basis, is what story am I telling and what part am I playing in it? And so you don't need to be playing the best friend. You don't need to be playing the victim. You are the protagonist. You are the leading lady. You are the hero. You are the, you know, whatever word that is, that gives you power in this moment. But you're no side character. You know, you're no plot device. You are, you know, this beautiful soul that needs to maybe express some emotions, you know, sit with some things that you need to let go, whatever it is that you're holding tightly onto. But at the end of the day, there is something so precious within you that is endearing, and that is persistent, and that is resilient. That's the word I'm looking for. Resilient. This is not the end of a journey, simply a milestone on it. A milestone on it. And sit with yourself, sit with whatever situation this needs, whether you get this at the full moon in Pisces or some other time. You have that power within you. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. And if you need to draw it from some sacred and spiritual place as well, like Great Spirit was the chant that I did today, and that for me gives me some sense of something. Whatever deity, if you work with that, whatever, you know, cause that you find really lights you up, whatever it is, that wherever you find power, draw that in, and give yourself that. Give yourself that permission to nix that shit out. You know? You know? You know. All right. Well, I'm sending you much love with this full moon in Pisces, my babe. And let's get this done. Let's draw these lines. Let's sit with ourselves and be honest. We have the power. We are the leading lady. We are the hero. We can do it. We can, and we're gonna. All right. Love you. Mwah. Oh. Bye.